Hi, my name is Alexia Culton and I own EJ Bain Studio located in Grandview, Missouri. We've been in business for a year and a half. 2 years ago, owning a salon was absolutely not on my radar. So a little over 2 years ago, I was in Los Angeles and working as a makeup artist, freelancing, and I just had a moment one day and I knew it was time to go back to Kansas City. I was incredibly nervous to come home because my career was really taking off in Los Angeles. I was pretty much being groomed for quite a few big jobs with a big corporation in Los Angeles. When I was heading back to Kansas City, I was coming under the impression I was going to be opening a salon with a girlfriend of mine who had all of the financing in place. She was pretty much ready to go, looking for properties, and I packed my bags, quit all of my jobs. A week before I left town, I get a phone call that we are not opening a salon. I call a friend and she picks me up and we drive back to Kansas City, and I have nothing to come back to at this point. I'm coming home to no job and 2.5 years worth of connections and great jobs that I had made in Los Angeles. So I was working for the #1 salon in Kansas City, and it never occurred to me in a million years that I would want to own my own location. My head and my heart were always somewhere else in other cities. Kansas City didn't seem to have a lot to offer for me and my career. And through a series of events, I remember being in my treatment room one day at work, and I just had this sudden moment where I thought, I don't want to work for anyone else. I remember going to a work party and feeling like one day, how awesome would it be to be in control of my environment and be able to create an environment that I felt I could stand for. And I just looked at her and I said, you know, this is the craziest thing, but I just have this desire to open a salon. I've never had that before. I don't even know what to do with it, if I should or not. And she said, well, let's get in the car, because there was a place I know for sale up the street. And literally that afternoon, minutes after I spoke it out loud and told her I wanted it, we were in the car in front of this little space. I looked in the window and I had that feeling that people say they get when maybe they fall in love at first sight or something. And I also just put before the Lord that if this space was meant to be mine, that someone would have a dream. So I just prayed that the Lord would speak to somebody that I trusted that didn't have any clue what was happening in the situation. So a friend of mine came back, oh my gosh, it must have been maybe 2 or 3 days later, and said, I have this craziest dream. And she said, I just had a dream about this little tiny space that you and I were sitting in, and it happened to be, it was your new business. And we were looking across the street at this other business that was the #1 business in Kansas City. And we just felt the covering and protection and safety of the Lord being this business. And I don't know what that means to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bizarre, because I'm working for the #1 salon in Kansas City at the time, and this little space is no bigger than a garage, a car garage, which happened to be how she specifically described it in the dream. And I just knew at that moment that was like my answer. So I decided to go for it and pursue opening up a salon, and I had no money in the bank. I mean, enough to pay my bills that month, that's about it. So I finally got in touch with the owner of this location, and she said, oh my gosh, I've had this place listed for a year and I haven't had any offers on it. I've dropped the price by 50%. I'd love to meet with you. I'm coming in town on Sunday. So I send her an email on Monday, and the following Sunday she wants to meet me in person. I'm so excited. I'm thinking this is going to be easy. You know, she had mentioned over the phone that maybe we could work out some kind of a payment plan. So I thought, okay, this is doable. You know, maybe I could make this work. So Sunday rolls around, and I walk in and she says, okay, I've got some news for you. She said, I've had this place listed for a year. I have not had one offer, and within the last 6 days, I've had 5 offers, cash over the asking price. So she's sharing this with me, all these other offers she's getting, and she said, okay, so tell me why I should give you the space. And I said, I believe I should have the space because I feel like the Lord told me that it's mine. And she said, okay, give me a little more. And I said, okay, you're gonna think I'm absolutely crazy, but my friend had a dream, and I asked the Lord to give her a dream. She asked if I could give her a moment and went in the back with her husband, and she came back a few minutes later and she said, I can't compete with that. I'd love to give you this space, and I'm gonna let you make payments until it's paid off. I'll give you a year to pay me off. So it was mine.